Welcome to the Beyond the Years podcast, a podcast about all things Disney.
You are listening to episode 38. So today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. This was Josh's idea. It's something that he had listened to on another podcast. So I'm going to let Josh tell you about it.
Okay, so this is coming from the Friends from Work podcast, which if you guys haven't listened to their podcast, is a great podcast along with ours. But totally borrowing this idea because I thought it was such a fun and clever idea. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through all the MCU movies, and the first thing you think of when it's called one word associations. So when I say, so let's go ahead and do the first one.
Okay.
So Captain America, the first Avenger, what's the first scene you think of without thinking?
I just think of Red Skull.
Okay.
I don't know. I had a flash of his shield and then I was like Red Skull because that's the main villain.
Yeah. Okay. So my brain completely goes to not even a relevant scene, but it's where he's drawing those little drawings when he's doing the rallies and then the camps and stuff.
Okay.
So he's not even doing anything Captain America. He's just sitting there drawing, but that's the first thing that my mind jumps to for that movie. Mm-hmm. And then it jumps to another scene that comes to mind every time I think of the movie is when he and Bucky are jumping that bridge that's fire where they first meet Red Skull kind of thing.
Yeah. I was also kind of thinking of it's okay. So as you know, after I've worked all day, my brain is not as sharp as it is in the morning. I was thinking about us doing a podcast later in the day today, and I was so pumped about it. And my brain was just firing off left and right ideas. And then when we get to it, I'm and we're doing this, and you have to be quick. And my brain is oh, at this point. But when you said that, I kind of had a couple of things, the flash of his shield and then Red Skull. And then I was kind of thinking about that scene where he sees Peggy and they're training before all the guys are lined up outside and there's those green Jeep kind of vehicles and then Peggy's walking in front of them.
Oh yeah, when they first meet Peggy.
Yeah,
when he's still little.
Yeah I kind of thought about that.
Okay,
so anyway, that's what we're going to be doing today, and hopefully as we progress my brain will start working a little bit better, but I still think this is going to be super fun.
Yeah, and it'll be not tough, but we haven't watched a lot of these movies somewhat recently. We haven't watched them, so that's just the other kicker to this is that some of these we haven't seen in a hot minute. So all right, second movie we got Captain Marvel.
Dang, it's so hard to boom. Really just her towards the end of the movie when she's flying back into Earth's atmosphere.
Okay.
That was but I kind of got a flash of Monica Rambeau. Wait, is that right?
Maria
Rambeau.
Yeah.
Monica's her daughter.
Yeah.
I got a flash of Maria Rambeau, just her face, which doesn't count as a whole scene. And then it was Captain Marvel entering the atmosphere, kind of, I guess. What do you think of?
I go to Talos sipping the drink whenever he's no, calm down. And they don't know he's there.
Yeah.
My brain goes to that.
I love Talos.
And then it goes to where they're on the spaceship, or Marvel's spaceship, the invisible one, when they're in the jet, right as they're pulling up to it, because they've got the Flurkin in there and all that.
The Flurkin.
The cat.
Yeah, no, I know.
And that's kind of where my brain goes to.
Okay, so let me ask you this. When you did you look at all of these earlier, or
No.
you're just going in order?
We're going in cinematic rewatch order.
So let's alternate who has to go first, so it's more fair.
Okay.
Because you have the whole time to think about it while I'm answering.
Okay.
Okay, so you go first on the next one.
Okay. So the next one's Iron Man. First thing that pops into my mind is when he's doing the test with the first suit.
Okay.
And he's all right, we're going to do 50% thrust.
Yeah.
And it backs him up into that. Along with that scene, it comes with where he's the first flight where he can't control himself.
Yes.
And he like sees the kid eating the ice cream and the ice cream falls. That's like, and that music that dun 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 dun, dun, that whole scene, like I really like that.
Interesting.
And that's kind of where my mind goes.
Okay, so I went to when he was in the desert and he was escaping and he like crashed into the sand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. See, this is fun, isn't it? Because you're like, you don't, like, my mind doesn't go to like the important scenes. It goes to random scenes that I would think like, wow, why am I thinking of like Talos sipping on that drink?
Yeah, well, my brain is like more surface level. I'm like, okay, Captain Marvel. Let's think of a scene with Captain Marvel. Like, I don't immediately go to like different characters, I guess. Okay.
So do you want to go first on the next one?
Yeah.
Iron Man 2.
When they are, it's at the end of the movie, when they are in that giant glass globe fighting Whiplash.
Yeah.
War Machine and Iron Man are like doing the thing where they both are shooting
The repulsor.
Yeah. And then it explodes the glass and everybody like, collapses or whatever.
Okay. So my brain went to two scenes. The first one was the boxing match where we meet Natasha. And because I love that scene because he's so funny.
I don't like it.
And the next scene I think is when he's sitting in the Lardo donuts or whatever it is.
Oh yeah.
Or the big boy donut.
Okay.
The donut hole right before we meet Nick Fury.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my brain goes for like those specific. Another scene that I think like obviously like I'm thinking, and while I'm thinking it's like, oh, more crap's coming out. So whenever they do the Stark Expo, the first shot of the movie when he lands on the ground.
Yeah. No, that's a great moment.
Yeah.
I love Iron Man 2, obviously.
Yeah.
So that whole movie's pretty dang good.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So I'm up next. And it's the Incredible Hulk. And the first thing I think of was pretty much the whole New York and Harlem fight at the end of the movie. Because that's the only really scene I care about.
Okay. Any more to elaborate on that?
No.
Okay.
But just the whole fight scene. Because I've not watched this movie. And probably since like 2018.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been a long time for both of us. So when I picture it, that the first thing that popped into my head was him sitting cross-legged in his little, where is he in that movie?
At the end?
At the beginning. He's in another country. Where is he?
Oh, Belize or something like that, or Brazil.
So wherever he's living at, he would sit like Indian style on the ground to like kind of meditate. And so like that was the first thing that popped into my head. But the rest of the movie, total blur.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a minute since we watched it. Okay, you're up next. And it is Thor 1.
Okay. I'm trying
Don't
to
think, just
No, I'm trying to pinpoint what I was just thinking because it's taking me a second. So, I'm trying to, I think it was right when they first met Thor. No, maybe it wasn't. But basically he was just standing there and he kind of like turned like this and was like looking at him.
Right
Maybe
before he gets hit with the car.
Yeah, maybe.
Interesting.
I don't know.
I also said, as she said, turn like this, she's turning, and I'm looking, but I'm like, the audience can't see you looking.
No, I know. Okay, here's maybe a better one. So like where they're in the diner and he throws the coffee cup and smashes. Yeah, he smashes it on the ground. That was the second thing that kind of popped into my brain.
Okay. So the first one for me was when they're in Asgard and he's getting ready to be throned king. That whole like where he's like laughing and tossing Mjolnir up and he's like, ha ha ha, yes, like just being like super arrogant.
Mm-hmm.
I think of that, and then the last scene with like him smashing the Rainbow Bridge.
Oh yeah.
To kill the Bifrost.
Okay.
That's where my mind goes for those.
Okay.
So, yours is interesting though.
Yeah.
Not really.
I don't know. I'm trying to pinpoint what specific scene I'm even like thinking about. but he was wearing like his gray t-shirt and like jeans still. It wasn't like he was dressed like Thor.
Oh, you might be talking about where he's lifting the hammer when he's all in the rain.
Somewhere around that time in the movie, I think.
Okay.
But
that's another scene that I think of, like, because now that we're talking about the movie, I think of all the scenes I really like. So I like when he gets beat up and he puts his arm up in the air and he grabs the hammer when he's about to die.
Oh,
he takes the hit from the destroyer armor.
Yeah.
I love that scene when he suits up and it's like, yeah.
No, that was so good.
And then the whole fight scene where he's going to lift the hammer at the research facility.
Yeah.
And he can't do it. Mm-hmm. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, that first movie is really good.
It's underratedly good.
Yeah. So good. Honestly, all of the Thor movies are great. Despite what everyone says, they're really good.
Yeah, I agree. Who went first? Did I go first or did you?
I think I went first on that one.
Okay. Next one is Avengers 1.
Am I going first again? I can go first. So
sorry.
I was just, you're like over there just doing nothing. So the first thing that popped in my head was the New York scene, the big scene where they've got the flying alien. Mm-hmm. What are those things called? The big aliens with all of the armor.
The Leviathans.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the very classic, all of the Avengers are circled up and they're all like wielding their weapons, like ready to fight.
Okay.
And that's like probably one of the only things that I think of immediately that's going to be like the big scene of the movie. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. So I went to the helicarrier when they're all talking in the like Bruce and Tony's workshop kind of spot when they're all getting angry at one another.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a while since we've seen that movie, so I wasn't even thinking about that being in that movie. It's so hard to differentiate at that time period, like which movie it came from.
Yeah.
Because we got so many
in between.
Right. Close to the same time.
Yeah.
It felt like, I don't know.
Okay. So I think of that. And I also think of a couple things. Thor and Hulk's fight on the helicarrier. Because it's like the first time Thor was like, met the Hulk. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, wow. Like, this is Banner.
Yeah.
And then when another scene with Thor, obviously I like Thor, so I'm going to think of the Thor scenes. When Loki traps him in that fall, the cylinder that falls, when he escapes out of that.
Yeah.
And then alongside with that scene, whenever Hulk falls out of the sky, and the guy's like, you came down, big green and buck-ass nude. And
yeah.
he like threw him some clothes.
Man, we need to watch that movie again.
Oh, we're gonna.
It's like coming back to me now that you're talking about all of the scenes.
Yeah.
But it's never been, I guess not never, but more recently, I don't view it as one of my favorites, and it's probably just a relevance thing where I haven't seen it in so long. It kind of fades. Yeah,
I think we need to do a whole MCU rewatch because we're only on movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 of 30.
Man, that's crazy.
Okay. Like I said, we're going. Okay, so this is from the Friends from Work website. This is their recommended rewatch order, which I really like how they are doing this.
Okay.
So that was the Avengers. Now we're doing Thor: The Dark World.
Am I going first?
I'm going first.
Okay.
I think of I think of the scene where I just like can't remember where they're at, but the whole setup scene where they're trying to destroy the ether and it acts like Loki betrays them. Yes. Pretty much like from the time they get on that little boat to the time that they're there. I think of that like whole scene.
Okay.
It's like when he gets his hand chopped off.
Yeah.
Chopped off, quote unquote. I like that whole scene.
Okay.
And I don't even know. I can't even think of anything else right now.
Okay, so I have a couple.
Okay.
So first thing, because I recently did a Thor movie rewatch, and I watched The Dark World twice because I loved it.
Yeah.
It was so freaking good.
Yeah.
And you know, it's one of those heavily criticized movies. It's most people's like least favorite Thor movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved it. So I watched it twice. Anyway, so the first scene that popped into my head was Jane absorbing the ether.
Oh, okay.
So she was like floating.
Mm-hmm.
Was it in between two blocks? And it was like red. It kind of looked like fire almost.
Yep.
So her absorbing the ether was the first thing. And then I just had a vision of what's the bad guy's name? Malekith. Okay, yeah. And then I just had a vision of Malekith, his like face.
Oh, okay.
Which is not a scene, but I don't know. We'll just go with them. We'll just go with Jane absorbing the ether.
Okay. Another scene I think of is when they're, because I like Darby.
Okay.
A lot, and when the kids take him to that area where Jane gets absorbed with the stuff, but they're in that building and they're dropping stuff and it's like falling through.
Yes.
And the intern,
he throws
Darby's
the keys.
Yeah. She's like, was that the keys?
Yeah. God, this movie is so good. Another huge scene is when
Oh, hold on. Before I forget it. I like the beginning scene where pretty much the opening scene where they're on the Vanaheim and he destroys that rock monster, the Cronin.
Yeah.
That's another scene I think of. But I'm going to let you go now because I'm just going to keep rambling off scenes.
Okay. I was just thinking of the scene where his mother dies.
Oh, okay.
But like that fight scene, I was like, damn, she is such a badass.
Mm-hmm.
She like really held her own in that fight and it was really cool. So
witch.
Yeah, I love her. But anyway, okay, what's the next one?
Next is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1.
Okay, so first thing I think of is, God, I am looking like an idiot because I don't know the names of all of these places. So the planet at the beginning of the movie where Gamora is hunting Star-Lord. She's like chasing him, and then Rocket and Groot are also Xandar. Okay. So that whole scene where Gamora and Groot and Rocket are trying to catch Star-Lord.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
To obviously for bounty.
Yeah.
Something like that. There's a reward on his head. Whatever.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
Okay. Mine jumps to the Kiln where they're all in jail together.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much right after that.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what kind of when you get really introduced to all these characters and they're like, okay, now we're stuck together. And I also think of the last scene, the big fight, where they absorb the Power Stone.
Oh, mm-hmm.
So that's where my mind goes.
Yeah. I mean, all of these are great movies.
Also, I really like the scene when they're on Nowhere. Pretty much the whole Nowhere. The head of the Celestial.
I'm like looking away to think because I can't focus if I'm staring at you.
Yeah.
I have to like look at a wall.
'Cause I'm so handsome.
There's a lot going on over here, over like where you're sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So behind you, we've got, to paint the scene, we've got like a bookcase with all of our nerd stuff on it. And then behind Josh, we also have like all of these paintings or pictures of Thor. And it's just hard to think. Anyway, we got the two of Thor and then Moon Knight. And then what is that?
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy. I can't see it because your head's there, but
yeah.
Anyway, so that's why I'm looking away if that's distracting.
No, It's not distracting. It's just trying to pick your brain is funny.
Okay. What's the next one?
Okay, this is your turn or is it my turn?
I went first on that one.
Okay. Iron Man 3.
So you're going first.
Yeah. So the first thing I think of is the Malibu scene where it's getting blown up. His house is getting blown up.
Okay.
And when Jarvis says, hold your breath, and the hand pops out and it grabs him and it shoots him off. That's all
Nice.
I think of that.
You think of you think of these huge monumental moments, and mine are like really
What
small
are you talking
things.
about? Mine were random earlier.
Okay. So what I first thought of when it's Tennessee, right? Where he gets taken to. So when he first wakes up, where he like crashed in the snow because this suit just like took him to Tennessee or whatever.
Yeah. He's like, sir.
Yeah. He crashed in the snow and then he woke up and then he kind of popped out once and he's like, oh, that's brisk because it's like freezing. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. And he's like, why don't you close back up? Warm back up before we get moving.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm low on battery.
Iron Man 3 has a lot of great parts and a lot of boring parts.
I agree.
So.
That's one of my least favorite movies.
Yeah, we never watch it really.
Mm-mm.
It always, all of them do surprise me a little bit, because everyone has their favorites and their least favorites. And then we tend not to watch the ones we don't really care about. But anytime we do watch something that I don't think I care about that much, I like it.
I think when we rewatch The Incredible Hulk, I think we'll both feel differently about it. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, it'll probably help. Because right now I could not care any less.
Yeah. Okay. You're up first. Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
I don't know. So I'm trying to think. All I can picture is Bucky walking on a street with his mask on, and it's like they've seen him for the first time. Is that in that movie?
Kind of.
There's like cars there.
Yeah.
On the street.
Yeah.
I don't know. This movie, it's been a while since I've seen this one, and so I'm having a hard time differentiating this from Civil War.
Gotcha.
What was the time frame when each of those came out?
This was 14 and Civil War was 16.
Okay. So relatively
Or
close.
17, 16.
I don't know. Give me some grace on that one.
Okay. I think of when Cap this scene is kind of like a two-parter, but it all goes in the same thing. When Cap goes home and Nick Fury's there and he says someone's infiltrated S.H.I.E.L.D., he shows him the phone, and because he's like got old-time music playing.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Fury's like, my wife kicked me out, and he shows him the phone because Steve's like all confused. He's like, I didn't know you had a wife, because this is still like kind of naive Steve, because he's only been like re-alived for about like 2 years at this point, because this is kind of going along with the timeline of like 2012 was the first Avengers, and we went 2 years for this movie. So he's kind of been around for 2 years at this point. So he's still a little bit naive. And then Fury gets shot. And then Captain America runs up the stairs, and he chases Bucky, and he throws his shield, and Bucky catches the shield like with his hand.
Right.
With his arm.
Okay.
So that's a scene I think of.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since I've seen that one.
Okay.
Okay. Next.
I'm up first here, and it's Avengers Age of Ultron. And the first thing I think of is the Avengers when they're all in the circle trying to lift Thor's hammer.
Okay.
That's immediately where my mind goes, that whole scene.
Okay. So my first thing is when they first meet Ultron and they're having that party, and then he walks in.
Oh, so like right after my scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he walks in kind of hunched over and like slow and super creepy.
Yeah.
And they are all like in shock. And then he starts talking.
Yeah.
That whole scene.
God, James Spader, so good.
Yeah, that whole scene. Good movie.
I also just really enjoyed like the whole team dynamic, because it's like you're getting a sequel to the Avengers. So now they've all worked together, and they're just a more cohesive unit. And it's fun to see like the banter between the team.
Oh yeah.
Like after the first fight, when they have to call in the Hulk, and they're on the ship, and someone says, Thor, status report on the Hulk. And he's like, oh, the screams will be heard all the way to hell. And Banner's just like, oh, like, why'd I do that? That and also the Hulk versus Iron Man Hulkbuster armor scene. Love that.
This is where they create Vision, correct?
Yeah.
This movie?
Yep.
Okay, so that kind of popped into my head too after that.
Okay.
I love Vision.
Yeah, I do too.
So I heard something today because I was listening to, it's called The Happiest Podcast on Earth. And I have only started listening to it today, but because they had a 2-hour podcast on D23. And I was like, boom, I'm in. I've got, I'm at work, we're not supposed to, listen to headphones, but sometimes in the morning. Anyway, so one of them is all of them are kind of Marvel fans, right? So one of them had mentioned White Vision. Tell me about that. Who is White Vision?
We saw him at the end of the WandaVision.
That's it. Just literally White Vision.
Yeah.
So what could he potentially be in coming up?
Wonder Man.
What else? I can't remember what
Armor Wars.
Armor Wars. That's what they were talking about. Him potentially being in Armor Wars. So what would that potentially? So Armor Wars is going to be any superhero technically that has like Tony Stark technology, right?
It's
roundabout.
Kind of
there. So Vision's included in that. Okay.
I guess.
Do you think that we're going to get White Vision in that?
I think he'll show back up eventually. I just don't know where he'll show up.
Okay.
That's kind of the best bet that everyone's guessing that he'll show up next is Armor Wars or Ironheart. That's coming out soon. He might show up in that, but I doubt it. And then Wonder Man, because in the comics, that's kind of where Vision gets his conscience, or like his demeanor is from Wonder Man. I don't know the exact storyline because I'm not like a huge Wonder Man, and I like Vision a lot in the movies, but not a big fan of him in the comics.
Okay.
Because I like Paul Bettany. I mean, I like how he does
very cool guy.
Vision, but yeah, that's how they create Vision, like, is through Wonder Man's like brain waves and conscious kind of thing. So I think he'll show up in Wonder Man. Wow, we're chugging along here, but we're only 9 movies deep.
Okay, let's go.
So let's keep going. You're up first, Doctor Strange.
Ooh, the car accident scene when his hands are like being crushed into the steering wheel.
Okay.
Ooh, I freaking love Doctor Strange. Like the first, not just him as a character, but the first movie is so good.
Yeah.
And then I kind of think of Christine in the hospital. All of the scenes are like literally going off like in like fireworks in my brain right now. Okay. So I don't know. I can't put it to words. The first thing I thought of was the car accident.
Okay.
What did you think of?
The first thing that popped into my mind was when he's not beating up the guy, or I guess he's beating up the guy, and he gets stabbed, and he opens up the portal to Christine.
In the broom closet?
Well, the broom closet, but like where he's on the operating table.
Yeah.
And he comes out of the astral plane, and he's like right there.
That was like the second thing that I kind of thought of.
That's the first place that my mind thought.
Nice.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, and it's fun. It doesn't make you. It makes you want to watch all these movies.
I know. Literally every single one. I'm like, we should watch that tonight. No, we should watch that tonight.
Yeah. If we watch it, we're watching in rewatch order, so it'll be the first Avenger.
Okay.
Okay. So next up is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Am I going first?
You go ahead. You're already. I saw your thought process going.
Spark. My eyes like lit up. So when they're flying on Ego, the planet, and they're all, what are they all standing on? It's just like a floating object.
Oh, yeah, just like the little hovercraft that they're on.
Yeah, they're just like on a floating object.
Yeah.
And they're floating in Ego and all around them is like this beautiful scenery, this amazing planet that is just like saturated with color and really vivid, and it's got the music playing. That's the first thing that I go to.
For some reason, my mind goes to right after they crash the ship, and they're all like talking, and then Ego's ship lands. He's like they come through the jump point, and there's a ship coming, and Drax goes, "I bet it's the 1-inch man."
Oh my God, yes. I love Guardians too. There's the humor a little bit is over the top sometimes, but I like Drax's humor.
Drax's humor is the best in that movie. I'm standing so incredibly still that you can't see me eating that.
It's invisible to the naked eye.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
This is an Infinity War, by the way. But then Mantis walks up and she's like, "Hi, Drax." Damn it.
Yeah.
Okay. So did you go first or did I? Oh,
I went first.
Okay. So next up is Ant-Man, the first one. And I think of where he's training in the backyard with Hope and Hank, and he shrinks down and he starts to see the ants and he gets scared. So he grows back up into like regular form, and it like there's a hole in the yard because he got scared of the ants.
When was the last time we watched this one?
Maybe last year.
I couldn't even tell you a scene that comes to mind because every scene I think of is from the second movie. Or Civil War or something.
Okay.
I literally couldn't tell you. And you describing that scene, I got nothing over here. Didn't even spark anything.
What about when he first puts on the suit in the bathtub, and then his buddy walks in and he turns on the shower because he's going to take a shower and he's getting chased by the water. Then he falls down a crack in the floor and it takes him through a bunch of...
Nope.
Wow. Ant-Man's like one of my favorite movies.
I really don't. Okay.
I was
Nobody kill me, but I really don't care about Ant-Man.
Really?
I don't like. I like Paul Rudd.
Wow.
I like Paul Rudd fine, but I really don't care. Like, people are on a bandwagon about Paul Rudd. Didn't he win like sexiest man of the year or something?
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry. He's like fine. I don't really care. Ant-Man movies are, I don't know.
Not my favorite. I love the Ant-Man movie.
Okay. What's the next one?
Civil War.
Okay. This is the one where Natasha has her mid-length straight red hair, right? Like a dark strawberry blonde hair.
I don't know.
I just think of her getting into a sports car at the end of the movie. I think she's wearing like a brown leather jacket. I think that's from Civil War. I think I'm right. Tell me if I'm wrong. And then I also kind of think about the big fight scene with the plane, and then Ant-Man gets huge, and they're all just kind of fighting. Spider-Man flies in. I don't know.
Okay.
Not my favorite movie.
One of my favorites. And I first go to the end scene with Cap and Bucky and Iron Man. When Iron Man shoots his shield, and it's like the classic like comic panel of like the sparks flying everywhere. It's actually like on the Steelbook version that I've got, the sparks. And then I go to the scene where Spider-Man is chasing Bucky and Sam through the airport terminal. And Bucky's like, does everyone have... Or he's like, what the hell is that? And Spider-Man's like crawling on the wall. And Sam's like, everyone's got a gimmick these days.
Yeah. No. I remember that vaguely.
Okay. So we're just going to keep trucking along here if we don't have like a whole lot to say about it. Next up is Black Widow.
Wait, hold on. What?
Black Widow, the movie.
Oh, okay. So we're doing it in the rewatch order.
Yeah, in their rewatch order.
Okay.
Like I said 10 times.
No,
now.
I heard you, but that just threw me off for a second. Okay, Black Widow. I guess the scene at the dinner table with their fake mom and fake dad.
Yeah.
But they're all like
Adults.
adults.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the mom and the dad are like both badasses, but they actually do love the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually like a family unit. Was it Rachel Weisz who played the mom?
I think so.
Rachel Weisz. Love her.
Yeah, so that's my brain goes to exactly that scene, and then the scene where they bust Alexei out of prison.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that was kind of in there too for me.
So that's where my mind goes on that one. That's also a really good movie.
He is like huge right now because he was in Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember his name, but he was announced for the Thunderbolts.
David Harbour.
David Harbour, yes.
Yeah.
He is like huge right now.
Yeah.
And so is oh my gosh, her sister. What's her sister?
Florence Pugh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not make the connection. I think we recently talked in an episode where I was like, I don't care about Florence Pugh, and I mispronounced her name or whatever. And I didn't realize until after I said that was her sister.
Yelena.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I actually liked her in this movie, so there you go. Anyway,
Okay.
She's going to be in Thunderbolts too.
Yep.
As Black Widow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, super cool. I'm very excited about Thunderbolts now that I kind of know what to expect, I guess.
Yeah. Okay, so next up is Black Panther.
Okay.
Oh man, I can't even think right now because I thought of I'm thinking of the new trailer for Black Panther 2.
Okay.
But the first thing I think of was when he's like when they go to M'Baku and they find him like dead practically, and they crush up the herb and give it to him and to T'Challa.
Okay.
And nothing really, but
Okay, so what's the main who's Michael B. Jordan playing in this movie? What's his name?
Killmonger.
Killmonger. I'm sorry. Like I am terrible with names.
Go. It's all right, go.
So I was just thinking of the scene with Killmonger and he's like in a salvage yard.
Oh, chasing down Claw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, interesting.
It's been a long time since I've seen Black Panther.
Yeah. When it first came out, we watched it a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got any more to say about that one?
Nope.
Okay. We're gonna start trucking through some of these because
Okay, I get it. Let's go.
I can hear the baby getting anxious here.
Okay.
Spider-Man: Homecoming.
You can go first.
I think of the scene where he breaks up the arms deal that he doesn't know is like an arms deal yet, and he's chasing down this van that they're shooting at him with. It's like when he's going to the party, he's like, "You gotta show up to the party," and he sees like this giant explosion, so he goes to that, and then he gets like chased through the neighborhood.
Okay.
Chases his car through the neighborhood.
Yes.
Also think of the scene where Michael Keaton's character, God, I can't even think of his name right now, Vulture, is talking to Peter in the car because he starts to piece together like Peter's Spider-Man.
Okay, so first thing that came to mind was when Vulture was like, it was nighttime and he was like flying into like to kind of where their like little base operation is.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking about Peter picking up his date. Oh my God. What's her name?
Well,
Zendaya, right?
No. His date.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry.
Liv.
Okay,
Liz.
Literally all three of the Spider-Man movies, I can't really differentiate.
It's Liz.
Know. Okay.
But his daughter, Michael Keaton's daughter.
I was just imagining him picking her up for the date, for the homecoming dance.
Yeah, and he opens the door.
Yeah. We'll move on.
Okay.
I sound like a freaking idiot. It's been so long. I keep saying that. It's been so long since we've seen it.
Okay, so you're first on this one.
Okay.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The scene where did they crash the van into the water? Somebody's in the water.
Yeah.
Are both of them in the water?
No, Ant-Man is.
Okay. Does he like get big and come out of the water?
Yep.
That's like what I kind of went with.
Okay. I think of the scene where It's towards the beginning of the movie. One, actually, yeah, okay, I'll say that one first, and I'll go with the other scene I'm thinking of. They go to the school to pick up the trophy, the best grandma trophy.
Yeah.
And because the suit is on the bottom of the trophy.
Yes.
And he's got to act like a little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Because he can't,
yeah.
the regulator's all jacked up.
Yeah.
So he's like small, and he's like really big, and he's small again, and he's wearing that oversized hoodie.
Yes.
And the teacher's like, "Hey, where's your hall pass?" And he's like, he's like runs into the classroom.
Yeah. No, that's funny.
I love that scene. And she's like, he's trying to jump up and open up a door.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Come on, almost there. You almost got it." And he's just like, "Open the door." And he just opens the door.
No, that's kind of coming back to me now.
I also like the scene where Hope is in her wasp form, and they're in that industrial kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like throwing stuff at her, and she's like running off the knife, and she like makes a salt shaker like really big. Mm-hmm. That's another scene that comes to mind.
Yeah. What
about you? Or did you already say it?
The water scene.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Next one is Thor Ragnarok.
So I love the iconic scene where they're playing the music, and then Thor like jumps up into the air and has his like lightning, and then he like, I don't know, like projects
on
it
the
out
bridge.
Yeah, on the bridge.
Yeah. Okay.
Ragnarok. Also the scene where he's literally fighting Hulk.
Okay. So my mind goes to him and Odin when like he's like passed out, and he's like, "Are you Thor, god of hammers?" He's like that.
Oh yeah.
That right before he gets like his power up moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go to another scene where with Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
I think of that.
I always forget
he's in that movie.
He's in that movie every time, and then I'm like, oh yeah.
Not long, but just enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those are the two scenes I think of. Okay, Infinity War.
A huge battle scene when Thor arrives.
Yep, that's mine too.
And then, I mean, I literally get chills every time. And then Hulk is like, "Oh man, you guys are screwed now."
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah.
And then, just Thor. "Bring me Thanos."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly the same
It's a good
scene
moment.
I think of. So
Infinity War is so good.
Oh yeah. I also enjoy the first interaction of Peter and Tony and Doctor Strange and the Guardians, and where Doctor Strange is like, "Well, let me ask you this one time. Who is your who do you serve?" And Star-Lord goes, "What am I supposed to say, Jesus?"
That is such a good line. Oh, yeah, that's good.
And you're from Earth. Yeah, I'm from Missouri. Yeah, that's on Earth, dumbass.
Oh.
Don't call us plucky. We don't know what it means. That whole interaction between, like, really that interaction between Tony and Star-Lord are great.
Mm-hmm. Okay, next movie.
Endgame. And the first, you went last time, so I'm gonna go. The first thing I think of is the three of them, Tony, Cap, and Thor, when they're all looking down at Thanos at the end of the movie. And they're like, "What's he doing?" He's just sitting there. Well, let's go, let's go confront him. Mm-hmm. And Thor goes, "Let's kill him properly this time." And then, like, he calls Stormbreaker and Mjolnir at the same time, and it's like, like, he suits up. That's a fucking awesome scene.
Okay. I don't know why, when you said Endgame, my mind went to the end of Infinity War, not Endgame.
No, Endgame proper.
No, I get you. I get you now. And I'm like, oh my God, what happened? I don't know. Oh my gosh. The portal scene. Obviously. Huge moment.
Yeah.
Chills every time. I think, like, did we cry that first time? Or were we just like...
I think it was like tears of joy.
It was just like a huge moment.
That, and I was going to say my other scene would be Kat picking up Mjolnir.
Mm-hmm. Good moment.
Okay.
I knew it.
WandaVision.
Okay, so the first thing that popped into my mind was the Halloween episode, because Grayson is in a Halloween mood right now.
That's literally the whole... My mind went straight to the Halloween episode as well. So...
Well, because I turned it on like 2 days ago to watch with Grayson.
I was wondering why it was said continue watching WandaVision. I'm like, who the fuck has been watching WandaVision?
No, so Grayson, I tried to take it and run with it. So he was... he's been in a Halloween mood. Mm-hmm. And so that episode, like, I clicked on the Halloween tab on Disney Plus, and that was something that was on there. And then I like kind of aired over it, and he was like, oh, that one. And I was like, this one? Heck yeah. And so I turned it on and we watched it for a few minutes.
He's done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't care at that point. And I was like, come on, dude, just like another couple of minutes. And then they're going to be out in their costumes on the street. There's going to be everybody, and it's going to be entertaining for you. Mm-hmm. But just kind of that first part of the episode when Wanda and Vision kind of come out in like the old school classic comic costumes.
Yeah. That's kind of where my mind went. Just because I think we saw a lot of that in the promo art, or the promo like trailers, where she's like dancing in her costume and he's like walking around in his costume.
Yeah, I think that if I didn't just watch part of that, it would have... my mind kind of was going to like the first episode, like black and white, like old school 50s outfit, and like the dinner table kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay. This one's going to be a tough one for you since you didn't watch the show, but I'm going to say it anyway. Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Was there a scene at the beginning of the show that I did watch, with them on a boat where Bucky is trying to convince Sam to help? Is that right?
It's been a minute since I've watched this show, so I'm not sure.
So Sam's family owns a boat.
Yeah.
An old boat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
There's a scene on the boat.
That's what you remember?
That's the extent of what I remember.
I think of the last scene of the show practically where God, I can't even think of her name, but she dies. The girl dies. The main villain of the show dies. Or a villain of the show dies. And Sam's bringing her down, and he's like in his Captain America outfit, but with the Falcon wings like out. He looks like an angel, like holding her and like slowly bringing her down. It's a scene I think of.
Okay.
We'll have to rewatch that show because it's pretty good. Not one of my favorites, but it's good because I like Sam a lot. Next one is Spider-Man.
Far From Home. You want to go?
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Every time he reads, oh my gosh, every time he reads the name off, he gets like this blank expression, and I'm like, am I going? Are you going? Are you just thinking?
No, I'm like, well, partly I'm thinking, and I'm trying like not to think like, whenever she says something, I don't want my mind to think like, oh, I thought of that scene too.
Yeah.
Because that's where my mind would go. Like if you say, oh yeah, the Halloween episode of WandaVision. But my mind went to that before you even said it.
Yeah. So my mind went to the scene on the bridge where, what's his name?
Mysterio.
I'm telling you, I'm terrible with names. Mysterio is like crouched in the corner, like getting ready to die. Mm-hmm. And then he broadcasts a message or something.
Yeah.
That's what I think of.
Well, okay, so I think of when he's fighting Peter, and Peter has to use the spider sense. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if that's because you were just talking about the bridge scene, but that's where my mind went. Also, my mind went when Peter got hit by the train, because he thinks it's Fury, and then he like unveils himself as like Mysterio, and it just like gets hit by the train.
Okay,
that was a quick one. We can't do this next one because it's Eternals, and you haven't watched that movie.
Well, you can tell me what you think. First scene.
My first thought was when they go, it's pretty much the first scene that you see a deviant in the movie where they're in London. It's Dane Whitman's character, Cersei, Sprite, and then Prince Charming shows up.
Okay.
Icarus in the movie. I just knew you wouldn't know who Icarus was.
Okay.
Okay. Another one that you might not know. Well, okay, we're just going to go with it. Moon Knight.
The scene towards the beginning of the series, where he's being chased in a big truck. Is it like a food truck or an ice cream truck?
Cupcake truck.
Cupcake truck. I was almost there. He's being it's like a car chase.
Yeah.
In a
and he's going
truck.
in and out of consciousness and
yeah.
Mine goes to the end scene or the end of the show where Khonshu is fighting the giant alligator lady. But you didn't watch it, so you don't know.
How much? I think I watched.
You watched like maybe half the series. You watched like the first 3 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you gotta watch this next episode, and you're like, no. I'm like, it's so good, it's hilarious. Like at the end, you're like, no. I was like, okay, whatever. Okay, Thor: Love and Thunder.
The scene where he's doing the splits, and he's he's got the 2 flying motorcrafts with the owl people, like trying to kill him basically, and then he's like doing the splits to keep them apart.
Yeah.
And then he jumps up, and then they crash against each other.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the only reason that came to mind first is because we were watching The Assembled yesterday or the day before or something like that, and that was a scene that was shown. But normally I think I would have thought of the scene on the flying ship where him and Jane are standing at like the front of the ship, and they're just kind of like looking out
the space
into the distance.
Space dolphins.
Yeah. No, at the front of the ship where they're like looking out over just in space basically.
Gotcha. My scene would be the oh my gosh, I just lost all train of thought because you were talking about that, and I was like, oh yeah, holy crap, I totally lost my scene. Oh, Omnipotent City. When
they crash, or just the whole thing?
When the goats crash through the window.
Yeah.
To come in.
Oh man, it's a moment.
And they like jump. They jump up on the ship. They take the lightning bolt, thunderbolt.
Yeah.
And just that whole scene because they're like, and they jump up on the ship.
Yeah, I just want to clarify that scene that I mentioned first is not my favorite moment. If anything, that was probably my least favorite scene in the whole movie. Because I thought it wasn't necessary.
Yeah.
I thought it just took it too far, like the humor too far.
Yeah. And
it was like kind of out of character. But that's where my brain went as far as like what scene do you think of first?
Gotcha.
Anyway.
Okay. Next is Loki. TV series.
There's a scene where they're fighting in some sort of grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah, because that was like one of the episodes you watched because it was one of the first
I think
two.
I watched like 4 episodes.
No, I know. I'm just saying.
Dude, you guys got to defend my honor in the comment section of this podcast.
No one listens to our podcast. They're not defending us.
You are like dogging on me now.
The first scene I think of is the end of the show where he meets his other variants and the classic Loki. He like resurrects like a whole Asgard out of magic, and he's like, ultimate power, and like he gets eaten up, or he gets killed. But that's the first scene that popped to mind.
Okay.
And any scene, I like the scene also in the last episode where it's just him and Sylvie and my God, I can't think right now.
Morbius?
No. Wow. Jonathan Major's character, Kang. But I can't remember what they call him in the show. Anyway, that's what I think of. Next up is gonna be another tough one for you because I don't think you watched it. It's the What If, Marvel's What If.
So I did watch the first one with Captain Britain.
Yeah, Captain Carter.
Captain Carter, dang it.
Yeah.
So close. Almost made it. Yeah, that was a good episode. I just think of her holding the shield, and that's pretty much it. Okay,
I think of I think of 2 episodes. I can't think of like a specific one. Where Black Panther is Star-Lord is the one where I think of, because it's like the last role that Chadwick Boseman got to do, and then I think of the Doctor Strange episode. That's where my mind goes. Okay, Spider-Man: No Way Home.
The scene where Aunt May dies.
Ooh, sad.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the bridge where he first meets Octavius, Doc Ock, the first time.
Okay.
That's a really good scene.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I knew going into the movie that he was going to be in it. Or that any of the like original like OG actors were going to be in it.
Yeah.
I don't think I knew that. Yeah. So that was a really cool moment.
Yeah, that was a really good moment. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
For some reason, do you want to go first?
No, go ahead.
Sorry, my brain is like working now. For some reason, my mind went to when he first was like connecting to his zombie body and his hand is like cracking and his fingers are all like moving weird.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like connecting and like just like vibing with the body more. Mm-hmm. My mind went to that. And then I went to the
Dreamwalking Hypocrite.
Yes. And then I went to Earth 838.
Yeah.
I wanted to say 838, but I didn't want to be wrong. So my mind went to Earth 838 when he and America are like just walking, kind of when they first arrived.
I gotcha. So my mind goes to whether he's standing in front of the Illuminati.
Oh,
we're going through all these movies, and like my mind's starting to like mush movies together. I'm like, that's not that movie.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But he's standing in front of like standing trial to the Illuminati. I think of that scene first, and that's all we'll say.
Such a good movie.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
If you haven't listened to our first official podcast, it is the only podcast we've done that has done like extremely well. You know, on our scale, has like 30,000 views on YouTube.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and it's unfortunately like the quality of the mic is not there because at the time we only had one mic, but I think the content of that podcast is really good because we basically just did a walkthrough of the entire movie, and I think we did a pretty good job. Yeah. So anyway, check that podcast out.
Yeah. Okay. So Hawkeye. I don't even know if you watched any of Hawkeye.
I did not, because I do not care about Hawkeye.
Okay. Well, it's a great show. And it's not just about Hawkeye, it's about a new Hawkeye. And the scene I think of is it's like one of the first scenes where she meets Clint and they're driving in this car and he's like, grab that arrow. And she's like, is this a trick arrow? And he's like, just grab that arrow and shoot it. And then she shoots an arrow and it like blows up a car. And she's like, oh my gosh, that was a trick arrow. So
sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a really, really good show.
So what does it rank as far as shows for you? Like top few or bottom few?
I would say it's in the middle.
Okay.
Okay, we'll hurry up here because we got 2 more and Grayson's starting to freak out. I can hear him out there.
Okay.
Shang-Chi.
Okay. The scene with Trevor. Oh. Where you get to see Trevor for this first time and he's got his little pet friend.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
So funny. So
that you can see him too?
Yeah. So cute. I love Trevor.
Yeah.
What about for you?
I just think of the dragon at the end of the movie where he's riding the dragon and they're like eating the little monsters.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
Great movie.
Yeah.
I surpassed my expectations.
Yeah, that's an awesome movie. Okay, and last one, Miss Marvel.
Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
Okay.
You watch all of it.
I know. I just had to, again, we've got the Marvels coming out. We've got Captain Marvel. We've got Miss Marvel. I had to think about which one it was. So, I don't know. I guess towards the end of the series when she actually like did the embiggen thing and her hand like got big.
Yeah.
And then she like kind of, what did she do? Like slap something?
She grabbed the truck.
Okay. I was going to say, I thought she grabbed a car or something, but yeah, I guess that scene.
Okay. Mine would be whenever she, God, I can't even think of it. The friend, her friend is trying to run for board and she's like, I'm going to go get my white elephant or my white whale. And she's talking to the dad like, oh, like all these people, it's not even to deal with Miss Marvel, but it kind of does.
Yeah.
Where she talks to
Nakia,
that's right. Where she's going to talk to her dad because his friend is the one that's running the board. So I like that scene. That's what I think of. Okay, so yeah, that's all. I mean, obviously we're not going to do She-Hulk yet because it's not over.
Was that literally all of them?
That was it.
Dang.
Yeah, we flew through the last bit, but we've been doing this for over an hour now.
Over an hour?
Yeah, an hour and 5 minutes.
No. Oh my gosh. That went by so fast. I was thinking that was going to be like 30 minutes.
No.
Wow. Okay. I was wanting to talk about more things, but we can talk about more things in the next podcast.
Yeah, for sure. We have a sitter here.
Yes.
It's Aunt Kaylee.
Aunt Kaylee came to the rescue. She came to watch Grayson so we could do the podcast before like 10 p.m.
Yeah.
tonight.
Yeah, and it's 7:00 and I'm already feeling bad because I can hear him out there screaming and I'm like, oh, it's time to end this.
Oh my gosh. He's fussy. He's got a cold. So he's a little fussier than usual. He's not been screaming. He's just like has a moment where he's two. So like if he gets frustrated, he will like scream out because he's mad. So he's not out there like literally crying. We're not neglecting him. He just has moments where he's frustrated. Like if you're playing trucks or something and you don't move the truck where he wants the truck, he might just scream. That's what Josh is referring to in this particular moment. He's not out there just like screaming right now.
No. But yeah, that's 100%.
I don't want people to think that we're neglecting our child.
No, that's 100% like true because he does like just like, no, I'm going to play with him or I'm going to play with this truck. And he'll get like, no, you're this truck. I'm like, I don't want to be that truck.
He's very particular.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Okay.
Was there anything else you wanted to add today?
No, but
okay.
Oh,
sorry, my brain. I'm like, ooh, I'm so excited. I was thinking so much earlier because I'm not a morning person, but once I have some caffeine in me and I've been awake for a couple of hours, that's like my peak brain activity for the day. And so if I'm tasking at work and I really don't have to think about like my job that much, I'm always thinking about podcasts and this kind of thing. So, should we do anything else with like D23?
I think I don't know if we'll do like an actual podcast about it, but I think we'll just bring it up in podcast discussions.
I really want to do like our favorite things that were announced at D23, like what we're most excited about.
Okay.
But I don't know. That seems like a fun idea to me.
Okay. I also had like I texted you earlier, and I thought we were gonna do it in this episode, but this episode's going so long now. I figured this wouldn't be a good time, but I was gonna do our favorite MCU heroes.
Yeah.
And along with that, we can do like our favorite Disney character.
Okay.
And then our favorite like Pixar character. So that could be like a couple podcasts that we.
Okay.
Like
we've got so many
like
ideas.
The this or that episodes that we were doing. Just more fun, like kind of to shut your brain off and just like laugh with us.
Yeah, I like when we just get to talk. Yeah. I was thinking about also today doing like an overrated or an underrated. And you could do that for like any of the Disney parks, Disney rides, Disney restaurants.
Oh, yeah.
Marvel movies, Marvel
overrated
characters.
Ride,
literally.
Dinosaur.
But that could be like an entire episode, overrated or underrated at Animal Kingdom. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I'm like really in Disney Parks mood right now.
Yeah, I get it.
I watched so I love the Tim Tracker and his family. That's one of the only YouTubers that I like consistently watch on somewhat of a regular basis. I like literally don't watch anybody else for the most part. And they went to D23. So Tim went to D23, and then Jen, his wife, and their son Jackson went to Disneyland. And it made me want to go to Disneyland. It looked like so fun. So this is totally random, but it's Disney related. So they did a vlog at Disneyland, her and Jackson, and they were only at the park for like 4 hours, and they got to ride 11 rides and like eat food.
Well,
because they got there early, and apparently in California people are like more chill vibes and they don't like rope drop. So they got there pretty much right when the park opened, and so there was
they
like
rope dropped.
Kind of, yeah. And there was like no wait on like any of the rides that they got to ride. And those rides, I watched because they kind of do a ride through for most of them. They looked so fun. Anyway, so it made me want to go to Disneyland. You know,
Yeah, I agree. I would love to go to Disneyland for Avengers Campus and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and just like it just is so special. You know, like that's Walt's original vision, and he actually like had a huge part in it. So like that's so special. Anyway, it just like I always have wanted to go to Disneyland, but now especially I was like, you know what? Maybe we might just go to Disneyland instead of Disney World because it would be cheaper. It's just 2 parks. It's smaller. If it seems like it's more chill vibes, that might be like a good way to like ease Grayson
we could
into
spend
going.
a week there, but or we'd have a week off, but it wouldn't have to be like a week in California.
Yeah, we could literally go to the parks for 4 days
and then come home.
Yeah, and we could just go to the parks for 4 hours in the morning and then do whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know where I was going with that. I just wanted to talk about it and tell somebody. So
cool.
Okay.
Well, I say that's it for this podcast.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're not watching, thank you guys so much for listening. If you are still with us, we appreciate it. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share on whatever platform you are listening. Follow us on Instagram at Beyond the Ears Podcast. We are trying to be a little bit more active on there. Also, that's a really great way to be able to communicate with us. Yeah. So thank you guys, and we'll talk to you in the next one.